Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Professional Podcast, or the HCP Podcast for short. So today we are joined by Dr. Elle Todd, the Portfolio Career Doctor, as many of you know from Instagram and other parts of social media. And really excited for this conversation. I think there's going to be lots to learn on kind of a better work-life relationship and diving into also how Elle manages that for herself as someone who is a part-time doctor, business owner, and also lifestyle performance coach. So lots to dive into and hopefully another fun conversation for you all today, which will include asking about favorite desserts and probably me talking about tiramisu again. Fantastic. Welcome today to the HCP podcast. And I am now joined by Dr. Elle Todd. Hi, Elle. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm really good. Thank you. How are you?
Yes, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's a Friday and
Yeah.
it's so, you know, it's the week's flown by. I don't know how it's already Friday, but we're going for it and looking forward to the weekend. Not slept much with, I have a 1-year-old, which lots of people know now at this point, but sleep isn't great. But yeah, otherwise good.
Okay.
Cool. Well, let's jump straight to the quickfire segment. And then we'll get into the other stuff afterwards. So firstly, what's your must-have work snack?
Oh, I love at the moment banana with peanut butter, and it's really lazy. I don't really
Oh,
take it necessarily. Well, I sometimes take it to work in if like I've had time to pre-prepare it, but
okay,
it's more like when I'm working from home or in the morning when I've not got time to have like a proper breakfast. And I'm trying to like get out the front door or I like need some fuel before I go and work out or something. And I literally grab a banana, tub of peanut butter, get a knife, really lazy, peel the banana, scoop out peanut butter, and with every bite, put a bit of peanut butter on the banana. And it seems really rogue, but don't knock it until you've tried it. And the best thing about it is that it's such a good slow release of carbohydrate. So and the fat in the nut butter keeps me fueled for ages, like
mm,
absolutely ages. So if you do need like a really quick breakfast and you know you've not gotten like a chance to have a proper fuel until like 11 or 10, which I know isn't ideal, but it sometimes happens, then it sees me through and it stops like hunger cravings and rubbish snacking. So yeah, that's my go-to
nice,
snack.
nice. Yeah, I think it's a good one. I think it's finding what works for you. Um, and my only call out to people out there would be mindful of the peanut butter
Yes,
volume if you are trying to achieve a certain calorie target, as it's so easy to end up
too
having
much.
like 300 calories in just peanut butter alone. Uh, but it is delicious as well, which helps. Do you have a particular brand of peanut butter that you really like?
No, but usually just something smooth.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question: smooth or
Yeah,
unsmooth?
smooth. Yeah,
So
smooth.
yeah, smooth all the way,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so what about your coffee order? What would that be?
Oh, it's it I to be honest, I'm a tea drinker at heart, but
Oh, okay.
I hate going to a coffee shop and buying
Mm,
tea, like, it seems like a waste of money. So,
yeah.
if I'm going to a coffee shop and I'm gonna spend 3 quid on a drink, I'll get usually a latte. I have
Mhm.
recently been trying, matcha,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I do quite like an iced matcha. That has been
Oh,
quite nice, yeah, but usually with some sort of flavoring in it, to be honest, depending on where you are and how earthy it is. But again, yeah, obviously be conscious of the calorie intake there if you're calorie counting.
yeah, yeah,
Syrups.
yeah. Syrups. I tend to just. To be fair, a lot of places do have the sort of sugar-free syrups. If
Yes.
so, that's always a good option. Like most
Yeah.
places will have sugar-free vanilla at
Mhm.
least, or maybe sugar-free salted caramel. As I know firsthand. So it's yeah, worth the ask. Because a lot will default to just giving you the, I guess, full sugar
Yeah.
version if you don't specify. So yeah, good option. I'm not. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not the biggest fan of matcha, at least from my experiences so far. There's a
No.
new place that opened near us, and I guess I just went for the matcha iced latte. It was quite expensive. It was like over £5, but also,
What?
yeah, but also I was just like, this is just kind of milky dirt.
Grass. Yeah.
Like, oh, this doesn't taste great. I was like, I wish I just got an iced latte instead with
Yeah. I think
sugar-free.
it's really varied. So I first had matcha, it must have been like probably like 5 years ago. I had a coffee, a
Mm,
matcha latte, and it was literally like drinking grass, and I was put off for life. And it was only till 2
yes.
weeks ago where I was in this coffee shop, and I'd already had a latte, and I was having a conversation with someone, so we were spending a bit longer there. And I was like, I don't really want another latte
Mm,
because I find them quite bitter. I fancied
yeah.
something cold, and they had this blueberry iced matcha latte. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And I wasn't unimpressed. It was a great choice. So yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I think I just need to try different flavors. I think I need to expand the
Yeah.
flavors
Yeah.
avec the matcha and see how I go. The only other experience I've had has also been bad, unfortunately, was I was getting the train to London and using the Too Good to Go app.
Okay.
Uh, I bought a nearby Too Good to Go bag, and from this cafe, and it sounded great. And then I got there, and the gate in the kind of bag had two really big matcha, almost sort of like scones or matcha cake, I guess I
Oh
describe
no.
it as.
And they were green.
But they were green, very very dry,
Oh no.
and quite dirt flavored. And
That's not
yeah,
what you want.
it
No.
was on the train, not ideal, not good. I think I got halfway through the first one. I was like, this is
Who can I
this is
give this
not,
to?
this is not going well.
Let's
I kind
find some
of needed,
ducks.
yeah, I needed like some spread or something to go with it. Just to, yeah, it was a tough eat. So I've been burnt twice, but I will try again. Just for you,
Yeah,
I'll try
no, fair enough.
again. Okay, next question. What is your go-to workout song or playlist or genre?
Oh, great question. Do you know what? It really varies depending on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I love a
Mm.
bit of James Blunt.
Oh,
Sometimes I love a
yeah.
bit of Imagine Dragons, or a bit of Macklemore with some of his,
Mm,
and then there's other times where I put my focus playlist on. I've got a playlist called, it's ironically called Valium in my Spotify, and I often share it actually with my followers on social media. And it's
mm,
like my Zen playlist, which is quite
yeah.
like just like minimal lyrics. It's quite like hypnotic, and it just gets
Mhm.
you in the zone. So it really, really depends on what mindset I'm in, what mood I'm in. If I want something more upbeat, then great, I'll go for something a bit more fun. But if I'm actually just needing the time to really zone out and just focus on movement and not think about other things, then I'll go for something a bit more zenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I'm pretty similar. As people know at this point, have quite a mix of genres. And same thing, I will, depending on what mood I'm in and what I'm feeling like and what maybe workout I'm doing, I'll
Yeah.
vary what I'm doing. Sometimes for my longer runs, I'll put on something that's a bit more less vocal and more kind of hypnotic or just beat focused in the background,
Yeah.
versus workouts where I might want something a bit more lyrical in the gym. Maybe it kind of
Yeah.
can really depend. I'd also put out there that James Blunt is fantastic. Um, I don't know why he got so much hate. He's great. I'd
He's
really recommend
great.
watching
I
the
really like him.
documentary on Netflix as
Yeah, or
well.
go see him
So,
live. Honestly, I went and saw him live
yeah.
like 3 years ago in Kew
Oh,
Gardens, and it was the best concert I've been to in so long. He's a performer as well. He's like a proper
yeah,
entertainer. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
great.
highly recommend. So, yeah, big fan. Okay, last couple of questions on the quick fire round. So, is there anything you've bought in the past year that's been like really game changing for you, if anything?
Oh, great question. I'm not really like a massive um gadgety person, but
Mm,
saying that, there is one thing that I purchased quite recently is a foam topper for my mattress by this company called Panda.
yeah,
Yeah, probably a bit TMI, but I struggled with back pains,
yeah, yeah.
like, for it really kicked on basically the
Mm,
moment I turned 30, which I know seems really ridiculous and everyone says it, but it did. I started waking up with loads of stiffness in my upper back. And I actually ended up going and seeing a physio, having some imaging done. Luckily, everything was all okay. But the physio that I spoke to said, like, I think it's a lot of like, occupational habits, sitting, working on a laptop, you're getting really tight. And then he said that I think your mattress is probably also too hard, and it's not allowing your spine to properly relax and like fall into its natural curvature whilst you're asleep.
mhm,
And in my head, I'd been like, he's probably right because I've always loved a really hard mattress up till now. And he
mm,
said, try getting a topper, or, just putting like some blankets on your bed initially if you don't want to like spend some money first. And so I
invest, yeah.
started doing that. And honestly, I started waking up like not feeling stiff. Before, I've been
Mm,
waking up, upper back feeling really stiff. I'd go to do like a Jefferson curl, which is where you
Yeah.
just gradually like roll your head down in each of your vertebrae until you can touch your toes. And doing that,
Mm.
I felt like I was 70 years old, having to like take deep breaths as I'd worked my way through it.
Yeah.
And then the moment I started sleeping with the mattress topper, I promise you, overnight, I woke up feeling
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, that has been a game changer for me. It's not necessarily like technical. Well, I guess it is in its
Oh,
own
it can be
way.
anything. Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
can be anything. Yeah.
And it's actually like relatively inexpensive as well, especially if you go to
Mhm.
Costco.
So yeah, we've bought Panda pillows before from Costco. So the moment you said Panda, I was like, did you get that from Costco? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that answers the question. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, 100%. I'm a massive advocate for people investing in either a great mattress topper or a great
Mm.
mattress, and good pillows, because it's something that we do like it's more than anything.
Yes, our bed,
Is
like, yeah,
sleep.
honestly, and I've been
Um,
really looking into all sorts of other things when it comes to sleep as well, and
mm,
there's so many things that we can do. We spend so much time in bed that
yeah.
we need to really try and optimize that environment for us. And yeah, it seemed really silly. Like I turned 30, suddenly I was getting these aches and pains, and it was always on waking. It was always worse, like
Mhm.
that straight away. As soon as I was getting out of bed, within half an hour of moving, I felt a lot better, but I was
Yeah.
still getting out of bed and straight away having this kind of like negative outlook on my day because I was like, "Oh, I'm stiff, I hurt."
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this has changed the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, morning back pain is no joke. So yeah, everyone out there, if you're still using the same mattress that you've had for like 10, 15
Yeah.
years and it's maybe not so
Reevaluate.
good, I
Yeah.
really would think about investing in one. Because also actually the upfront cost for a really good mattress, yes, can be quite high. But
Yes.
if you can kind of justify it by breaking it down a per night
Yeah.
cost for a couple of years,
Consider how
actually
long. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's a pretty good value for what you get. And the
Yeah.
difference it will make, honestly, is enormous. I know we
Yeah.
did the same. We bought a really good mattress a couple of years ago. Um, and yeah, overnight difference in terms of similar thing. I would wake up with just aches or pains or whatever, particularly at back, and almost gone overnight from
Mm.
just using a good mattress.
Better
So
mattress.
yeah,
And the other
yeah,
bonus is loads of these companies offer like a 30-day money back guarantee as well. And I know it seems like a faff getting a mattress delivered, then picked up and
yeah,
again, like redelivered if you're choosing something else. But it means that you can still make that investment relatively
yes,
risk free, testing it
mm,
and making sure it does make a difference to you. And if it doesn't, then you do obviously have to, put the effort in to send it back. But for if you're worried about the upfront cost,
yeah,
then you can try and mitigate the risk there.
100%. Yeah, totally agree. Um, We're not sponsored by any mattress companies, but if anybody wants to
No,
sponsor
I'm
us,
not.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Eight
find us.
Sleep or whatever it's called that does the like
Oh
thermoregulation.
yeah,
I've got them on my horizon.
oh so do I.
But I'm
Yeah,
gonna need to like
that's
JV with someone.
yeah.
Anyone want to go 50-50?
I have a folder on my browser that's just like shopping kind of wish list almost, and like the 8 Sleep mattress is one thing that's check marked on there because I'm quite a hot sleeper, whereas my wife is not. Um, and I'm just like, yeah, I'd quite like to try one out. So
Yes.
yeah, put something for future.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Alrighty. Next question. What is your favorite dessert? Very important.
Oh, sticky toffee pudding every day of the week. Next.
Yeah. Yeah. Good shout. Everyone knows what my favorite one is, so I won't say it again. Um, there's quite a wide question, but what's your biggest frustration maybe with sort of the fitness or kind of health space at the moment?
Oh, I think it's got very gimmicky.
Hmm.
Like it's got really flashy with
Hmm.
I think it's always been there on social media, like, people going to the gym, wearing nice workout clothes, showing what their workouts are. But more recently, I think it's got a lot more like, oh, you need to have this outfit, you need to have this gadget, you need to have an Aura
Yeah.
ring, a Whoop, you need to have a running vest, like here's the latest sunglasses. Like there's so much to it that's got really inaccessible and makes people think
Yes.
that there's these other barriers to going for a run or being healthy. And actually, you could put all this stuff on the most unhealthiest person, and that doesn't make them healthy.
Yes.
And it doesn't make them any better at getting into the gym or doing a workout or moving their body.
Yeah.
Um, but it creates this perception that you need more to be able to do these things, and you really
Yes.
don't, which
No.
I think is just it's quite sad, really. And
Mm.
I guess that is just social media, though, isn't it? And it then creates these comparisons,
Yeah.
which are then quite negative, and it makes you feel, less able or capable because you don't have all those things than someone else. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, that sort of hyper commercialization and sort of social
Yes.
mediaization, that's definitely not a word, but the hyper
Yeah.
exposure, I suppose, of the sort of particularly the health and fitness now is more so than ever before. And I totally agree. I think, yeah, people feel like they need to have the latest Garmin, the latest Whoop, latest Nike
Or
trainers
like
that
just
are
be going to like the
keeping
latest
fit.
Pilates class, like
Yeah,
I love going to a class, don't get me wrong, especially an
yeah,
in-person class, because it forces me to really zone out of my head. But you can similarly access so many, obviously not reformer unless you've got a reformer machine at home, which, amazing if you do, but most of
yeah,
us, I suspect, don't. But you've probably got a mat or like a carpet, and there's so many classes that you can
oh,
access
yeah,
online, so
yeah,
many,
yeah.
to get the
I
same
think
benefit.
so much, yeah, so many online classes or even YouTube. There's so many
Yeah.
brilliant YouTube channels out there
So,
that
and that are completely free.
sessions, Pilates,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah, there's so many, and yeah, I think that a lot of people want to be at the latest thing or whatever. But I mean, if I think for 99.9% of things that come out in the fitness industry aren't new, they're just things that have been recycled from
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago and have got a new sheen or
Absolutely.
a new kind of company is selling things around it. And it's and obviously we have maybe more insight into that than most people who are consuming social media kind of fitness content. And sort of, but yeah, it's often super interesting. Often I'll scroll through social media and
Yeah.
get quite, I have to just turn it off because I get frustrated at some of the stuff I see. And then people feel like they need to buy into that to
Mm.
be able to do X, Y, and Z, or you kind of see people gatekeeping, I don't know, 5K runs and things now. And, I don't know if you saw that sort of the video that was people being interviewed about what their icks are at 5K like group runs and things like that. And I was just like, and lots of people there were in extremely expensive gear. I'm like, guys, you're just going for a fun
5K.
5K park
Yeah.
run together. Like, just turn up and run and let other people turn up
Yeah.
and run. If you want to spend loads of money, amazing. But also, you don't need to do that to go
No.
and run.
No.
Like for my ultramarathon training, I'm using cheap kit that I got off eBay auctions and off Vinted. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, you really don't have to spend the money to have
No.
a great time doing health and fitness.
Or to
Yeah,
look good and feel confident in what you're
yeah,
doing, like,
yeah,
I think because that's another big part of it is that, you are
mm,
putting yourself out there. You often are, especially if you're going to park runs and stuff, you will be engaging with other people, seeing other people, and you need to feel confident in what you're doing. And
oh,
especially then
yeah,
walking into gyms, like it can be
mm,
such an intimidating environment. But
yes,
you can just have like 3 gym outfits that you like, that you recycle, one pair
yeah,
of trainers that you really like and that you feel comfortable in. If you want a watch or some form of wearable, like, again, you can have one, but it doesn't have to be like the latest thing,
yeah,
for you to be able to track the things that you wanna track. So, yeah, so it's that overconsumption, isn't it? Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's the thing. You can, if you want to spend the money, absolutely go for it. I'm all in,
Mm.
all in support of you. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you don't need to
Let's
spend
remind
all those
everyone,
things
yeah, that you don't have to do
to
that too.
yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of those things that this definitely won't get sponsored by Whoop, and things like
No.
Whoop can be a useful tool, but I'd say for the most people, you probably realize whether you're quite tired or not, or whether you've had a busy
Yes.
week or not, and you
Oh,
need a bit
don't
more
we I
rest.
think we could do a
You know?
whole separate podcast episode on wearables because, yeah, there's so many arguments for and against why you need them, and
Yeah.
don't fall into a marketing trap that's gonna cost you loads of money. Yeah,
Yes.
basically, unless you know
Yes.
why you really, really want it or need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
we'll save that
Um,
for another day.
yeah. So for the day, yeah, we're here for you, and you'd have to spend the money at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that ends the quickfire segment, which actually I think you set a new record so far for the podcast of the quickfire segment.
Oh,
So uh,
amazing. Good.
well done for that. I don't have a trophy or award, but just
No, that's
pride.
fine.
That's what
I'm
you
used
can
as a
take
healthcare professional, I'm used to getting claps and things.
out. That's true. Pots and pans on the doorsteps.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Uh, so um, let's jump into a bit more about you. So for those of you who don't know you, I did a bit of an intro prior to us kicking off the actual episode, but it'd be great for people listening just to hear you in your own words, I suppose. Yeah.
So I describe myself with like a singular title as a portfolio career doctor, which I think is the
Hmm.
best way to kind of just, I'm not a fan of labels, but if you were to give me a label, that would be what it is. But what
Mm.
that encompasses is that I still work part-time as an A&E doctor. I've got some of my own businesses that I work on with my brother. And I'm also a lifestyle and performance coach who is like on a mission to help other people create happier and healthier careers for themselves, whether that's
Mhm.
navigating what career they want to pursue, but also how they're going to go about doing that work such that it doesn't interfere with both their professional and personal lives, and basically just getting the best out of both what they do for work and how they live. Um, so yeah, so that's me kind of in a nutshell. I
Yeah.
am hugely passionate about looking after ourselves and the ways in
Yes.
which we do that in like the most accessible way possible, both like mentally, physically, and emotionally. I'm quite ambitious. I love spending time outdoors. Um, yeah, so that's
Yeah,
me.
brilliant. Yeah, yeah. It's. I think that really comes through in your social media profile as well, particularly on Instagram. I think you, um, within seconds, you kind of get that vibe that you really value, particularly time outdoors, but kind of finding that healthy relationship between
Yeah,
working, but also like enjoyment and life.
yeah.
Um, I suppose fitness and health, has that always been a priority kind of for you, or is it something that over the past few years has become more of a priority?
So subconsciously, it was a priority when I was growing up. So, like my brother and I have always spent time like outdoors doing loads of different sports at like primary school and secondary school. Secondary school, it became I was definitely more academic, but I ended up finding my way into hockey. And played county hockey for 7 years, which kept me kind of more physically active at school. But
Hmm.
around that, I was still doing other sports, like I skied loads, like I was outside playing around with horses, things like that. So I was always still very much like doing lots of sports, but I wasn't necessarily training, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and then I got into it was kind of like that interval between leaving sixth form and starting uni. And I guess I was, late teens, early 20s at that stage of being a woman where I'm becoming more aware of how I look and how like attractive I am, I guess,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
others. And I was also getting sucked into that social media world of people like doing more fitness.
Hmm.
And I then basically found myself as I started uni and just before wanting to work out and like go to the gym.
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of where it started really. So I started uni and I started doing workouts in my room at uni, building up my confidence there. I downloaded things online that I found, like various different guides that people
Oh,
were
cool.
selling and went along and did those using like
Hmm.
very minimal kit in my room. I think I had some ankle weights that were like little
Oh, yeah.
sandbags that you like
Yeah.
velcro to your ankles. I had a fitness ball, um, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, and a skipping rope. Yeah, and I had a skipping rope. And so I do workouts in my room that consisted of like all body weight stuff basically with a little bit of resistance when it came to the um, ankle weights. And then I gradually started to build my confidence moving and
Yeah.
doing
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
conventional movements, like gym
Yeah.
movements.
Yeah.
And then slowly I would creep into the university gym. So I was in a college at uni. So when I was at Oxford, we were in colleges and each college
Yes.
had their own little gym. So it was a very small gym. It was like a room with,
Mm.
like a bench, like a couple of rowing machines, a bike, a runner, then some weights. So it was very, very small. And you could, like, depending on the time of the day, you could walk past and put your head in and be like, oh, no one's in there. Okay, I'm going in now.
Got
I'd
it.
like go into the gym, like preferably when it was empty. Like there were times where I'd walk past and I'd be like, whoa, there's way too many people in there. And I wouldn't go. I wouldn't train.
Mm. Yeah.
But because I was living in college, it wasn't too much of an issue because I'd then like wait an hour, like do something for an hour, then go back and be like, okay, it's quieter now, I'll go in. But like that's how I then built up my confidence getting into the gym. I eventually then got more and more confident, then like enrolled in like a more commercial gym and
Got it.
started kind of setting like challenges for myself. I really
Hmm.
liked the idea of
Hmm.
doing CrossFit, but didn't want to
Yeah.
join a CrossFit gym. So I then got a coach who programmed
Hmm.
me and taught me how to do like Olympic lifting. My brother then came up with some crazy ideas of doing a half Ironman. So I did a
Yeah.
half and trained for a half Ironman in my
Nice.
last year at uni. I then continued that through when I was doing my first year of working as a doctor. We signed up
Hmm.
to another one, and
Yeah.
that kind of saw me into working life and training and working life. And then just ever since, like I've just continued to train with various different
Amazing.
coaches, sometimes programming myself, sometimes not. But it's been a rock pretty much for me. I think it's helped me
Amazing.
in so many ways that
Mm.
I underestimate, and I think lots of other people probably underestimate too.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to kind of hear your, I suppose, like journey, for want of a better term, of you starting out as being kind of dipping your toe in the water online
Mm.
and kind of in your room, and then that building through to then being, yeah, where you are now, and half Ironman, and yeah, everything that comes with that. I suppose. How did your fitness kind of routine, I suppose, or your kind of health, fitness, and nutrition, how did that cope when you began actually working as a doctor, and particularly, I suppose, FY1 and 2 years when it can be a real sort of shock of capture almost?
Great question. I actually think so. My brother had signed us up for this second Ironman, which was
Mhm.
in September 20. It was like at the end of September. I think it was like the 22nd of September. It was the Weymouth half Ironman, and so I
Nice.
started working as a doctor in August. And by that point, I was well into a training program for the half Ironman, and
Mhm.
almost coming up to a bit of a deload towards the end. But like we were kind of, we were hitting our max kind of distances in terms of our runs, our cycles. So
Yes.
it was like heavy volume. And because also being like, I've come from always like a strength training background. Like I love strength training. I love
Mm.
lifting weights. I've
Mhm.
I've made sure that my program continued doing that. So our program consisted of like 3 strength sessions a week. We'd do a run, we'd swim twice a week. So there were some days where we were training morning and evening, and I'd
Yeah.
have to get up before a shift and go swim or and then like get into the gym afterwards. I was in A&E, so I was doing shift
Right.
work, which was a little bit like there was less routine, but because there
Yes.
were some days where I was starting at 10 and finishing at 7, it meant I could fit a gym session or a swim in
Mm.
before work and then
Got it.
train afterwards. So that kind of helped me. But
Mm.
essentially, I was forced to just carry on training and fit it
Yes.
in. And it was one of those things like I had this event and like it's not a it's not a there will be some people listening and that will that just that have the fitness level to go and do a half Ironman and go and do a half Ironman tomorrow. Like that's not me. Like I need to train. Like
Mm.
naturally I don't
And it,
naturally
yeah,
have a lot
physical
of
endurance
endurance in
aspect.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have to train. And
Mm.
so I really needed to make sure that I maintained that. And I had no option. Like I had this event coming up. I
Yeah.
needed to keep training. And luckily I had my brother to keep me accountable as well. Like he was doing
Mm.
it too. He was getting up and coming to the swims with me as well. And also trying to juggle that around his job.
Yeah.
So, so luckily, I was forced really early on to just go like, "This is gonna work. I'm gonna make sure that I fit training in around my work," and I did.
Mm. Yeah.
Food-wise, I was having to stay fueled because there was no way I was gonna get training done if I didn't have a decent lunch.
Yes.
I was taking in Tupperwares full of, like, tuna mayo, pasta, sweet corns, like,
Yeah.
chickens, leftover chicken meals and, with
Mm.
pasta and starter, like, carb loading, like, making sure I was getting
Yeah.
all
Got to
the food
fuel.
that I
Yeah.
needed. And so, yeah, it just had to work. And then once that was done, there was definitely like, I definitely wasn't training as intensely, but
Mm.
it was still my release, so I was still making
Yes.
sure that I was fitting in at least, like, well, between 3 to 5 sessions a week, I was
Mhm.
in the gym,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I had a coach programming me still for that, which really helped because
Yeah.
there was a program then that I had to turn up to do.
Keep you accountable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kept me accountable, and because I'd, trained even harder at the start of starting working life, it felt a bit easier.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really interesting to hear. I think it's a great example of you kind of you make it work because that's what's needed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were pretty tired
Yes.
and pretty stressed on many occasions, but you were able to kind of get it done and make it happen. And that was, I suppose, a benefit of having a goal that really stretches you as well. It's not something you could just walk into and actually not need to
No.
prepare and train for and put in place the things to develop and grow to get there. You had to put in the work to
Yes.
reach the
Yeah,
goal.
absolutely.
Um, which is a great forcing function. And then even afterwards, you're then still having a coach and having a program helps you still have that accountability and drive to keep
Yeah.
showing up, which I think is, which is, it's a really fantastic mechanism ultimately to, keep you moving. And I think the last thing I say is, I think is, what I sometimes describe to clients and people I speak to is fitness alone, or fitness and nutrition, or just nutrition, can be a great anchor in your week when everything else might be chaotic with differing rotas and schedules and nights and everything else. Fitness can be that nice anchor for you in a week that's just maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to yourself in that week. That's just you time working on yourself. And it's a project you get to have control over, you get to work on and develop, which I think is good, valuable time to, I suppose, almost kind of recover maybe mentally, and kind of grow as well. So it's fantastic to hear how that's worked for you. And I suppose, what would be your sort of top tips for someone who's struggling to fit exercise in and around working in healthcare?
So the first thing I would say is that you aren't going to have the energy to feel like you want to exercise every day. There will be days where you finish your shift and you're like, I don't have the energy to go for a run or go and pick up some weights. But you need energy to generate energy.
Yes.
and it's one of those things where, like, if you strip it right back to physiology, like, we have only got a number of mitochondria in our cells to produce energy, and we need to stimulate our body to go, hey guys, we actually now need more energy, so we need to tell our body that we're in this deficit, we haven't got enough energy, we need to stimulate it and go, we now need more mitochondria, we need to get our body into this state of going, okay, actually we need more powerhouses, we need to generate more of these organelles and create a system that can produce more energy. So you kind of have to be in that deficit to kind of tell the body and give it a nudge of going, okay guys, actually we need to like make our engine a bit stronger. But like, in itself, moving will also, it triggers so many endorphins, which then make you feel more energized. So it's trying to overcome that fatigue that you experienced before, and doing then things to help get over that like barrier, because it is a barrier. You finish your shift and you're like, I don't want to train, I don't want to get into the gym. So then for me, it's, how can you minimize you not doing this thing? In the long run, you'll want to do it and you will feel better for doing it. So what steps can you take to make it as easy as possible for you to get it done? And I always say, having a coach or a program that you're following where you don't have to think about what it is you're going to be doing. So you know that you're going to step into that gym and you know exactly what it is you're going to be doing in that gym. There's no kind of, oh, what will I train? I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, get rid of that like vagueness. Have a program that you're following, whether you write it yourself in advance or you get someone to program it for you. Amazing. Then if there are other ways that you can create that accountability, so a coach, again, that you're paying to program you, like, there is that sense of, I don't want to waste this money, I'm going to show up for them, especially if they're quite present and they're asking you how you're getting on. You start to feel guilty when you're like, oh yeah, I skipped it today again, sorry. So have some other form of accountability, and that could also be with a training buddy, having someone that turns up to the gym with you. And then another way of creating that accountability is, as I said, with an event. Like, have something that you've got to train for that has a bit of sunk cost. It can't be a free event, because then you can just bail on it and it doesn't really matter. It needs to be something that you do need to commit to and you'll want to commit to. And then the third main thing is, on the day, like, what can you do to make it as easy for you to just get into the gym as possible? So from finishing your shift, what steps will make it as simple for you to actually keep moving into the gym without sitting down and getting comfy on the sofa, and then making it even harder to kind of get back up? And that might be changing out of your work clothes and straight into gym gear. It might be having your gym gear already in your car and going just straight from work to the gym, so that there's no kind of like in between phase and it's just kind of a continuum. Or like having your workout clothes like ready to go for when you get home, like have them sat at the bottom of the stairs. So it's like, oh, okay, yes, I don't really want you, but I know the former you wanted me to. So come on. There's a lot of mindset to it. And I always say to people that you try and use second level thinking, which is where
Mm,
in the moment we often use first level thinking of like, I want that snack, or I want to sit on the
yeah,
sofa and watch TV. I don't want to train. But if you were to go to second level thinking, it's a way of going, what would former or future me want me to have done in this situation? Um,
yeah,
am I working towards a goal, and would the future me be a little bit disappointed that I hadn't, thought a little bit more consciously about what I did that day and how often I skipped the gym? And so, yeah, try
100%.
and
Yeah.
distance yourself from that initial immediate moment of what it is you want to do, which will probably be resting, and try and think about what your future you would want you to be doing in that moment. It's not
Yeah.
easy. There's days I
No.
skip on the gym,
Yeah.
and
And that's okay too. I
yeah,
think it's good to kind of have that ability. And I think that's often one thing that I think a lot of healthcare professionals I speak to can be um, having really ingrained in them is sort of, a level of perfectionism which they try and
yeah,
apply to fitness
everything.
nutrition, but often
Yeah,
to their detriment. Which absolutely, I want a healthcare professional who is a perfectionist when it comes to treating me or my pet or my teeth or whatever it might be.
yeah,
Um, but it doesn't necessarily help you quite so much when it comes to, oh, actually, I've been on a run of nights and I've just had a really stressful day and I've got stuff going on at home. So yeah, it's probably pretty understandable and okay that you maybe didn't work
decide
out
to,
today and instead
yeah,
you
or
take
swap
another
out
day.
that strength session
Yeah,
for a
make it a
walk,
quicker or
or
yeah, a
if
walk
if
or
you
yoga
still
at
want to
home or
move,
yeah,
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 yeah. And I think that's the other thing, it's being flexible with it, because there might be days
yes,
where you're like, I still want to move, I feel like I want to move, but you
yeah,
looked at what's programmed and it's like, I don't know, like, you know deadlifts at like 85% or something, and you're like, oh, the idea of that looks horrible. You don't have to
yeah,
do it. If you're with a good coach,
yeah.
you
Still
should
be
be able to
flexible.
message them and they will be able to
Yes,
adjust your program.
100%. Yeah,
Or even if you can't contact them like there and then, they aren't able to reprogram you like within half an hour, which I think, for a coach to do that, you need to be on quite a premium package to have that
yeah.
like immediate feedback.
Level of response. Yeah,
But if you're with a good coach, they should also have kind of pre-warned you that this might happen, and be like, on those days, here's a couple of like, here's 5
alternatives.
workouts that I've pre-prepared for you for those days where you think I want to do something that's lighter and more flowy and that's just going to be better for my nervous system. Or it's okay to not go into the gym, and like I said, just go for a walk if you want to move and do something, but don't actually want to, strain yourself in a certain way because
Mm,
you're just not in it, like mentally or physically. So yeah, have that flexibility with yourself. It
totally.
really is okay. You're not going to lose the gains, I promise you.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think it's super important to kind of try and hit that home with people. And yeah, like a few things you kind of touched on there. Absolutely, I think I often talk about with clients when it comes to making it happen on those days when we're low on energy or tired, or on the one side of things, it's okay, how can we minimize the number of decisions you need to make in a day? How can we
Yeah,
reduce that? And one is having a coach who helps you with programming and helps you with nutrition and all those sort of things, helps just take away decisions that you need to make. But also, as you say, it's thinking, how can I better prepare for tomorrow so I can make it as smooth environmentally as possible to
yeah,
get to the gym or the workout class or whatever it might be. So yeah, whether it's preparing kit or making sure you've got snacks with you that you can have before you
yeah,
work out so you've got more energy or whatever it
yeah,
might be, super important. I think from a consistency perspective, I think flexibility is one of the biggest things for consistency. That's what's going to keep you going week in, week out. And it's taking that moment to realize, yeah, it's okay that I didn't work out today because I'm maybe going to try again tomorrow when I might have less time and I'm not going to finish late. And
yeah,
it's important to have if you are working with a coach, and that's uh, something that I do with a lot of our clients, is we tailor each week based on what they've got going on, but also give them the flexibility to move their workouts around based on if they have a terrible day or if they end up working late and need to do something shorter or have an alternative option. It's all the things that we put in there as standard because that's life as a healthcare professional and we
yeah,
need to work around that. I think if you're someone who has a coach who isn't necessarily super flexible to what your real life circumstances are, it can be really difficult to stay consistent and make more progress. You kind of need to be conscious of flexibility and what's going to help you keep at it ultimately long term.
yeah,
Avoiding quick fixes and thinking long term sustainable progress is what I want to go
definitely.
after.
And don't be afraid to break up with your coach.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
This is something. So I've had a number of different coaches now who focused on various different things with me. And the most recent coach that I was with, like, I really, really liked them. Like, I, as a person and everything they stand for. And I'd had really good experiences working with them. But it got to a stage where it was probably about 18 months ago. I was actually, in reflection, I was definitely burnt out again.
Right.
And the type of programming that we were doing was very much strength orientated. It was quite CrossFit, so very volume heavy.
Quite
A lot
intense.
of the a lot of the movements and the workouts we were doing were at like upper percentile ranges for lifts with like low,
Yeah.
not necessarily like a high number of reps. So I was doing things like, 3 reps at like 95% or 90%. And my
Yeah,
my
training stuff.
body was going into these sessions really not enjoying it, and I was getting
Yeah.
apprehensive about the sessions, and it then created this really negative circle because for me, especially when I'm struggling, especially with burnout, but also like mentally, exercise is my release, and I
Mm,
love it normally, and it really helps
yes.
me. But in this circumstance, I was finding that
Became a
it
stressor.
became a stressor too.
Yeah.
And I'd said certain things, and I'd had certain conversations, but adaptations weren't necessarily being made, and I don't think they were necessarily quite picking up on my
Mm,
cues. And I similarly don't think I realized at that point how burnt out I was. And I'd
yeah.
said, like, can we lower it down? Can we make it a little bit less volume intense? Like, I want it to be a bit more fun. Like, I need it as that release. But it just still wasn't working. And I got to the stage where I was like, you know what? I know what I need better now than what this
Yes.
person thinks that I need. And it's time to go our separate ways. So it is difficult having those conversations, especially when you've been like, I think working with a coach, any type of coach, you start to build quite an intimate relationship in the sense
Yes.
that they know you really well. You rely on them for lots of things. You often use them as a sounding board. They often
Mm,
support you a lot, like a partner would, like a business partner or like a life partner does.
yeah.
And so going separate ways can feel quite daunting, but
Yes.
if it's not working for you, don't be afraid to say, "Hey, look, this
Oh, yeah.
isn't working.
Yeah.
Can we have a break
And,
for a bit?"
and a good coach will be very supportive of that
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah.
That's often a good measure of are they actually are they good and as a coach, and sometimes you could argue as as a human as well.
As a
It's like
human, yeah,
if they're okay with you
absolutely.
leaving, then that's a good sign
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're probably also have your best interests at heart.
And if they
So
don't ask you
yeah,
why and whether they can do something different before, like, you decide to
that point.
go, then that is an even, stronger reason for you to, like, run. Don't even think twice about it. Don't even feel bad. If they haven't even asked why you wanna leave and they've not even shown that interest, then, like, you've done the right thing. Because
Yeah,
a good coach
yeah,
will go, not because they necessarily wanna keep you, but because they probably wanna reflect and get feedback as to
yeah,
how they could have done
absolutely.
things differently.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. All right. Well, I'll bring us to our closing section as conscious of time and a couple of things we want to try
Yeah.
and get through before we get to the end. So, if you could give yourself, or if you could give your younger self one piece of health or fitness advice, what would it be?
Don't worry about taking time off. So I got to a stage where I was really strong. I was doing pull-ups like in like reps. I
Hmm.
was able to do like
Yeah.
6 to 8 reps of pull-ups, and like
Oh, nice.
I hadn't been able to do that before. So this was when I was in like my latter years of university, so early 20s. I was cleaning, deadlifting heavy, and I would go on holiday thinking I need to train. And I would
Mm,
try and do workouts whilst on holiday. And it was fun at times, but I put a lot of pressure on it. Um, I'd take my skipping rope, I'd make sure to try and program in a workout. And I'd get worried that if I wasn't training, I would lose my strength and I lose my ability to do those things. And I think it's not until you experience it for yourself that you gain confidence in knowing that you can take a break. But I know
yes.
full well now that I could take like 2 weeks off and I'll still be able to go back into a gym and like rep pull
Yeah.
ups. I might even be able to
Yes.
lift heavier than I did before. Like, a rest can be a good thing. Your
Oh,
physique
100%.
isn't going to change overnight. You aren't going to lose that strength. Like, obviously, if
Yeah.
you've
Good
taken a
rest.
break off because you've been ill and you've been like really immobile, then that's quite a different scenario. But if you are just taking a bit of a break from the gym for a couple of weeks, don't be too fearful. I think longer than
Yeah.
that, then it's
Yeah.
different.
Yes. But
But
yeah, short breaks, short
yeah,
holidays. totally fine. And
Don't
that's the thing.
don't be afraid
It's
to take a rest.
yeah, it's great to recognize that actually having a rest of a week or 2 weeks can actually, you might come back and actually perform even better on your return
Yeah.
because actually your body needed a bit of time to recover,
Yeah.
repair, and actually kind of build you up and kind of peak at your best.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see when people go on holiday, they come back and then sort of at their strongest, and they've unintentionally maybe peaked by having
Yeah.
a
A good
delayed
break.
fall and then being
Yeah.
super strong on their return or super fit. So
Yeah.
it's enjoy taking a rest. It's definitely needed. You can't
Yeah.
do every single day forever.
No.
Okay. And then what is one small habit or maybe ritual you do each week that helps you kind of stay grounded when everything gets a bit busy and chaotic?
Oh, great question. So I try and always include a lunchtime lap into my day, which is where,
Brilliant.
especially if I'm working in the hospital or even if I've spent a whole day like at home working on my laptop, I go
Brilliant.
outside
Oh, I
midday.
love
It
it.
doesn't need to be at midday and it doesn't have to necessarily always be at like a conventional lunchtime. It might end up
Yeah.
happening at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but I like get up and I go for a walk outside to get some fresh air, to
Yeah.
move. I don't follow a strict step count, but it really helps me a get a bit of like natural light, get
Mm,
some steps in, feel the fresh air, and move me from where I was, both mentally and literally. Which then helps my like productivity, helps re-stimulate
yeah.
me, helps me reset. Like, yeah, it helps me in so many ways. So I try and do that. I call it my lunchtime
Yeah. I
lap.
think I
Yeah,
love that. I think it's fantastic. It's that's the thing. It's just setting aside that smallest amount of time to just give some time to yourself, even in the midst of chaos, I think can be so beneficial for people to do so. Yeah, I love
yeah.
the midday lap is brilliant. Okay, and then last thing is if people want to see more of you, hear more of you, where should they find you online?
The best place to go is Instagram. So you can either search my full name, which is Dr. Gabrielle Todd, or you can search on there the Portfolio Career Doctor. My handle is a little a little bit complicated. It's Ellie Jean Todd. I'm probably going to be changing it quite soon because I'm very excitingly retraining. Well, not retraining, but adding to my coaching repertoire. Personal training to help people specifically that are in like are feeling stressed and that are burnt out because
Mhm.
there's not a lot of evidence to suggest what we should be doing in those scenarios. There's quite a lot of science about how we can train in people that are overtraining.
Yeah,
And so that's kind of going to become my focus just because it
awesome.
is like movement is so key in
Oh,
helping
yeah,
us like when it comes to our working lives and our personal lives. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It makes
so
a awesome
just
difference.
search if you search the Portfolio Career Doctor or my full name, Gabrielle Ellie Todd, you'll find me.
Amazing. And yeah, I'll add all those links and notes as well into the show notes, so anyone who's listening can find them in there too. Yeah, they'll I'm sure be following you after, as I think just so much interesting stuff in your Instagram profile in particular, in terms of notes around and ways to work through burnout and tips to just take a break as well, and how to
Yeah.
kind of better manage your health day to day. I think it's sometimes just seeing some of your posts are a great reminder to just take a pause and do
Yeah,
something for yourself for 5 minutes, which I think is much needed in today's world.
for sure.
Um, Fantastic.
Well,
Well,
thank you so much,
Elle,
Tom. I've really enjoyed this
oh, no worries.
conversation.
Me too. Amazing having you on, and we'll have to have a part two in future because I think there's just so much other stuff that we
Yes,
are both really
definitely.
into
Let's
that we
do
can
it.
talk about. So
Yeah.
we will
Yeah.
have a part two, and hopefully we'll have next time. Fingers crossed, everyone will have some video too. We had some connection problems today, so just audio for now, which is brilliant. And yeah, we'll see you for the next episode. But thanks again, Elle, and I'll see you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tom. Enjoy the rest of
No
your
worries.
day. Bye,
Thanks. Bye
everyone. Bye.
bye.